These are America's real gates to hell, and some might surprise you. The 7 gates of hell in Hellam Township in Pennsylvania. Imagine driving down a deserted back road at midnight, passing through ancient metal gates, one after the other, and believing that the 7th gate might open a tear into hell itself. Welcome to the legend of the 7 gates of hell. Now, for decades, the woods of Hellam Township in Pennsylvania have held one of America's most enduring gate to hell myths. That there are 7 gates hidden in the forest along Old Toad Road, and that anyone who can pass through all 7 in order will somehow be drawn into the underworld. Now, one version says a remote insane asylum once actually stood in that area. A fire broke out, many patients perished, and the gates were, erected to trap the missing inmates. Another claims an eccentric doctor built the gates along a forest path to keep out trespassers. Only one gate was visible by day, the rest at night. Now, according to legend, no one has ever passed the 5th gate. And if you somehow get through all 7, you will go straight to hell. Now, in reality, Toad Road was wiped off the map after flooding decades ago, and the existing gates now actually stand on private land. But the legend has only grown richer over time. Locals caution visitors, you may be trespassing, the roads are obscure, and the forest feels alive with eerie whispers. The 7 gates of hell have received a fair amount of attention, as you can imagine. Mike Argento wrote about it in the York Daily Record, and Matt Lake featured a section on the gates in his book, Weird Pennsylvania. So check those out if this has intrigued you enough. Bobby Mackeys Music World in Wilder, Kentucky. They say that in the basement of this country honky-tonk, a well leads down into something far darker than drinking and dancing, and it's called America's Gateway to Hell. Enter Bobby Mackeys Music World. Now, in Wilder, Kentucky, Bobby Mackeys nightclub is infamous as a portal to hell. The original building, which was demolished in December 2024, so recently, was actually known for its history as a nightclub and its reputation as one of America's most haunted venues. Bobby Mackey is rebuilding a new single-story venue at the same site. Now, the building actually began, however, as a slaughterhouse in the 1800s, and locals claim that animal remains were dumped into a basement hole, fueling the idea of a direct connection to the underworld. Legends of hauntings are linked to a story about the beheading of Pearl Bryan in 1896 and the alleged self-inflicted demise of a pregnant dancer named Johanna in the 1930s. The old well on the property is also a focal point for paranormal beliefs. Now, the basement well is claimed to be the actual portal. Lights flicker, doors open themselves, and patrons have reported being touched by unseen forces. Some visitors say they've heard disembodied voices or seen ghostly figures near the well. Over the years, paranormal investigators have flocked to the site, making it one of the most widely publicized haunted locations in the US. Even though historical records don't confirm all the grisly tales, the legends have persisted. It's a story that combines fear, curiosity, and human imagination, perfect for thrill seekers. Stull Cemetery in Kansas. Now, you might think you're stepping into a quiet rural cemetery at dusk, but locals say this one hides a gate to the underworld and that the devil himself shows up on All Hallows Eve. This is Stull Cemetery. Now, next to an abandoned church in Stull, Kansas, lies one of America's most infamous cemetery legends. The site is small and rural, but its reputation is anything but. Locals whisper that the devil himself appears there during certain nights, making Stull Cemetery a supposed portal to hell. Although some dismiss the legend as, just tourist hype, many thrill seekers visit at night hoping to catch a glimpse of the supernatural. The old, kind of weathered gravestones, overgrown paths, and abandoned church ruins create an atmosphere so haunting it's easy to believe something otherworldly could emerge from the shadows. Stull has become a prime example of, legend tripping, which is where people actually visit a location specifically to test the truth of a supernatural tale. Many have reported strange sounds, sudden chills, and unexplainable feelings of being watched. One person on Reddit shared their experience visiting, and it was honestly chilling. They said they are about an hour away from Stull Cemetery, and they went several times with friends in high school, always in the middle of the night. Lots of kind of minor occurrences like a whoosh past their ear and shadows, but the worst might be unbelievable to some. They continue to explain that one time on their way home, or one time everyone was basically talking about whether they believed in ghosts or not. Everyone said no, except for 2 of them. He said, "We weren't certain, but said we were open-minded. Spent about 30 minutes poking around in the dark until suddenly, coming from the field behind the cemetery, we heard a scream so loud and clear it sounded like a pig being hurt, or someone young burning alive. Loud enough it could make you want to cover your ears." The one guy who said he was open-minded and I looked at each other in absolute horror. He said his friends didn't didn't seem to notice at all, and they freaked out asking why they couldn't hear it. They thought they were messing with them and even started laughing. The scream went on for like a full minute, it seemed, he said. Now, he did some research on the town when he got home and discovered the story of the little boy who passed away while his father was burning on the field. 7 Gates of Hell. This is in Collinsville, Illinois. Now, behind quiet suburban roads lies a string of abandoned railroad bridges through which legend says you must drive or dare. Now, the portal opens and, hellhounds apparently come. Now, welcome to the Illinois version of the Gates of Hell. Now, in Collinsville, Illinois, there's a lesser known but vivid legend of the 7 Gates of Hell. This time, the gates are old railroad kind of trestles along Lebanon Road. Now, these are abandoned and forgotten roads and bridges, and legend says that if you drive through all 7 in order at midnight, you actually will open a portal. Go in reverse and you might see into hell itself. Each gate carries its own kind of eerie tale. Gate 2 is linked to a young boy's mysterious passing that hasn't been solved to this day. Gates 3 and 4 are associated with abandoned objects and rumors of occult activity. And Gate 6, known locally as the Acid Bridge, where a group of teens actually met a fiery end back in the 1970s. And it's said that their spirits are still there, kind of watching, lingering, and waiting to be saved. And also, Acid Bridge is infamous for, ghostly car accidents and phantom vehicles chasing drivers. Visitors report feeling watched, hearing car noises, headlights chasing them behind them where there is no car attached to the headlights, or seeing mysterious shapes dart between the gates. They say if you drive through all 7 without stopping, a shadowed figure will appear in your back seat. Even though the stories are largely, unverifiable, the sense of danger and the creepy isolation of the bridges make this a very powerful kind of legend and a perfect setting for, a Gates to Hell narrative. Hellgate Canyon. This is in Missoula County in Montana. Now, they call it Hell's Gate for a reason. A narrow canyon where ambushes once left the land soaked in doom and where the natural geography became a gate to demise. This is Hellgate Canyon. Now, this canyon in Montana is less about ghosts and more about historical kind of portal to danger. French-Canadian settlers named its Hellgates after kind of Blackfeet warriors ambushed members of the Flathead tribe and travelers. The canyon's narrow entrance created a lethal bottleneck, turning the natural landscape into a literal gate to hell. While there aren't demon stories here like, at other sites, the danger and the history are enough to send chills down your spine, and some people have expressed just a general feeling of unease when there, and almost like there's a presence lurking that can't really be explained or identified. Travelers faced, treacherous terrain, violent encounters, and sudden drops into the river below. Today, the canyon remains stunningly beautiful, but, with a dark past that makes it a fitting end to this journey through America's Gates to Hell. These locations give a very chilling glimpse into America's darkest legends, from forest gates and nightclub wells to haunted cemeteries, railroad bridges, and deadly canyons. Each tells a story about our fascination with portals to the unknown. Think about it. 7 gates, 1 well, 1 cemetery, a series of bridges, and a canyon, each called hell in some form. The theme is clear, right? The line between our world and something far darker, maybe closer than we ever imagined. Have you ever been near a place that felt like a gate to hell? Or do you know another American legend I should explore next? Let me know what you think or believe. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Ash. I'll see you next time. These disturbing real encounters with shadow people will absolutely terrify you. Go turn the lights on quick. You won't want to watch this with them off. The black figure by the closet. Now, late one night, a teenage girl from Mobile, Alabama woke to find a tall human-shaped figure beside her closet. She froze. It wasn't a trick of the shadows. This thing was darker than the dark itself. The kind of black that swallows light. She couldn't move, couldn't speak. She just watched as it stood there, silent, unmoving, as if it was studying her. The air in the room became very thick, almost like breathing through water. The figure glided closer to her bed slowly until it hovered over her face. She could feel the pressure of its presence, not a touch, but a weight pressing her chest. Then, as suddenly as it appeared, it was gone. After that night, the girl claimed she saw it again and again, always near the same closet, sometimes reflected in the TV screen, sometimes crossing her peripheral vision when she was alone. Over the next year, she actually developed reoccurring nightmares of dark hooded figures standing at her bedside. Experts later said it